One Piece? Well, if you haven't, spoilers ahead for the analogy I'm about to make here. So there's a point in the show where the main character Luffy and his crew are going up against this other character named Kuma. And Kuma is just giving Luffy's whole crew the work, bro. One by one, all of Luffy's crewmates start to disappear thanks to Kuma. And up until this point in the show, Luffy hasn't really backed down from a challenge. But now bro is yelling at his teammates to start running away, saying they could regroup later, but they can't handle this situation right now. Inevitably though, Kuma takes care of everyone on Luffy's squad except Luffy himself. Kuma's just looking down at Luffy and he sees him squirming in pain on the ground. He's banging his head, punching, kicking, screaming because for the first time in his pirate journey, he's hopeless. Despite all of the amazing things he had done up until this point, there was still a lot he had to learn. And because of this, he lost everything. His crew, his lifestyle, his sanity. Well, he loses his sanity even more later down the line, but that's besides the point. Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 was kind of a Luffy situation for me. It was the first time in my life that I was away from my friends and my family. I lived in an apartment complex where the neighbor above me was playing music so loud it was shaking the entire apartment complex. This guy had me taking my mattress out of my bedroom, moving it to the kitchen and just putting it on my kitchen floor just so I could fall asleep. For this next problem, I gotta quote one of my boys who lived in the area that I moved to. He said, "You moved to one of the most boring parts of the US and you also moved to the most boring town in the most boring state in the US." Which, is it my bad for moving to the most boring town in the state? Yeah, but I was also just happy to have a job, so I was willing to do whatever it took. So with that being said, I obviously wasn't really going outside. And if we're being completely honest, I kind of isolated myself in that apartment that I lived in. There was one particular moment that I'm thinking of right now where a lot of my friends from back home came to visit me in my apartment. And don't get me wrong, I was happy to see them obviously, but I was also very ashamed that they saw me in that state. Like my friend said, I was in the middle of nowhere and I was doing it for the right reasons, but there was nothing really to do when they came over. On top of that, I just kept getting lied to. I really can't explain that one, but I was just getting finessed. I'm not gonna hold you. And after a certain point, I just felt empty inside. I miss my old life, I miss my friends, I miss my family, and I just spent every moment I could on working on getting back home. I would go to work, come home for 15 minutes, and go to the library from 4 until the library closed, and just all I did was study. And it ultimately worked out in the end, but I neglected taking care of myself, and I'm still trying to undo all the damage I did when I was studying and just not taking care of myself. But with that being said, there were some positives. I started a Valorant team, that was fun. We finished 4-3, and a lot of my teammates are still friends after the season was over, so that's a plus. I went to Pittsburgh and I got to see Mac Miller's old neighborhood. I ate some of the best finger food I've had in my life. Pizza, mozzarella wedges, Pittsburghers, yo! Pittsburghers! They put a burger and fries with some coleslaw on 2 pieces of white bread. That was different, I'm not gonna lie. I did a lot of walking. I talked to some people that knew Mac Miller as a kid and got to go to Blue Slide Park where one of his albums is based off of. I also went to a Leve concert as well while I was in Pitt with one of my friends. That was dope. I went to DC to visit some family, had even more great food. Then I went to New York City and met a bunch of my online Valorant friends by accident while I was visiting family. Did even more walking, had even more food, you know the drill. And for what it's worth, the few friends I made while I was over in my old apartment were very cool. It was nice when I needed someone to talk to when I was alone and going through it. I'm planning on keeping contact with those people that helped me get through those tough days. I learned how to finance, organize my bills. I spent $1,000 on tires. Tires, bro! Back to the Luffy analogy. After he gets transported and goes through even more hardship, Luffy has a 2-year time skip where he mainly focuses on training. And that's kind of how I looked at this entire year, a time skip. Something not worth noting and a skippable part of my life. But as difficult and frustrating as this year has been for me, I realize I can't look at it like a time skip. Every part of your life is valuable. Because of the hardship I went through this past year, I can confidently say I'm in a much better spot in my life. So with that being said, in 2025, I hope I can achieve some of the goals I set in 2024 but never got the chance to. And mainly, I just want to be happy. That's the number one thing. I just want to be happy. I think if I can focus on that and also self-care, then all the sub goals that I have, like going to the gym, socializing, traveling, making videos, etc., will all fall into place. So yeah, I'm home. I'll see you in the next one.